All right, I just tweet out the stream. I'm getting better at that. I'm getting very used to streaming and just actually letting people know that I'm streaming rather than coming on here, going live, and just hoping people show up.
Oh God.
I've tried to be more in line with what you do and give people a bit of notice what's happening. Like even you'll do
Jesus.
YouTube community posts and stuff like that. I'm not quite that
I
good.
find those ones handy. Yeah, like the YouTube crowd is like they're very much just on YouTube, and it's like their own bubble sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like they can forget that like other stuff exists.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And honestly, even before I started streaming, I didn't really look at Twitch at all. I never even ventured into it, and even the culture of Twitch confused me. I was like, what is a pog? What are these emotes in chat? And I was just overwhelmed by the whole thing. I didn't get it. I think I only watched a bit of your streams and a bit of Anna's streams, and that is it. I didn't watch like anything else. So I was just completely lost
you're
in the
grand.
culture.
It's like baby steps for getting on Twitch, sure.
It really is. And I think as well, when you start, like I actually when I started thinking about doing this like little chat with you and just about you in general, I was like, I have so much that I actually don't know about Dan that I want to know about.
Oh Jesus.
But it just kind of
like we only see each other for like sponsored content and the occasional convention. Outside of that, there is no communication. We live in complete isolation. I've never met the man.
With streaming, like for me, when I started streaming, just kind of tying into what we were talking about, like I just found it super overwhelming since I already had so many people from YouTube coming over and I guess checking out Twitch and just saying hello in live time. And I just found it really hard to stream while trying to figure out everything that I was doing and struggling tech issues, and then getting this like outwave of support as well. Just super overwhelming. Like what?
You're doing great though, man.
I think I'm getting better at it. I think I'm getting there slowly. I like a year in, and I'm like, I think I'm like getting to the point where I still have tech issues, but I roll with them. But like with you, with streaming, were you streaming at the same time as YouTube all the time, or did you start on YouTube and then move to streaming? Or what was the story?
I've been on YouTube since 2011, so like happy a decade come
old
August of this year, which is mad. So I'm just one quick question, if that's okay. Is there an echo? There's not an echo, is there?
You can hear yourself, or
I think my chat can hear me.
Okay, a second. How can I do this?
What's going on there? Am I coming out on Kevin's end, is it? There's a slight echo. It's coming in sometimes.
Can I turn myself down a bit then? Are you able to adjust me a little bit on your side? Like if I was about here? Is that okay?
Let me just... Yeah, we just talking about that?
Hello, everyone. Sorry for ruining the stream with echo. It's a bit ironic.
Okay? Is that okay? We're just talking about tech difficulties now. We've finally sorted streaming.
For feck's sake. That is very ironic.
I think it's okay now. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I started on YouTube 2011. And I started doing Twitch in like 2016, and I started doing it like seriously then. I would have like kind of like 2-3 streams a week, but it was from about summer 2017 where I just started doing like full-time Twitch, because I kind of just worked out it's like I really like streaming, and I like streaming a lot more than I liked making the videos. So I want to start making videos on the streams. And I started like that with like baby steps, where it's like I'm still making some videos just outside of streams, but I did that for about a year. But then it was like summer of 2018 where I like very much decided every single stream I do, I am going to try and convert into a video. And it's like I'm not going to make like solo content on YouTube anymore. And I made like a full transition. The idea was everything is a stream highlight. And you know, things kind of just took off from there, and I was very thankful for that.
And what actually took off? Was it the Twitch or was it YouTube that took off for you?
It was YouTube that took off, but then it kind of snowballed the Twitch. Because I still remember it, where it's like, was it because I was living in Japan at the time, and I was like gearing up to become an English teacher living in Japan. Because I basically gotten to the point where like a YouTube and online career where, I've had a lot of fun with it, but I need to work out how to buy food. And it's like that pressing existential dread was starting to mount in my life. So it's like, I do love this, it's my passion, but I need a real job. And that happened to coincide with the moment where I was like, let's try variety content and kind of just give it one last shot. And so I started doing the variety stuff. I still had the interview lined up for teaching, but then it got to the point where basically the variety took off to the ludicrous extent that it's like there was no point in teaching, because I would have like made the same amount of money either way. And at that point I was just like, I did the very irresponsible thing of, sure, fuck it, let's keep doing this. Which in hindsight was terrible, because like I skipped my job interview when I was living in Japan, and it was the only one I had there. Yeah, I completely just skipped it, and I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. It's like, this is my last shot at it, and I don't regret it. It worked out.
Holy shit.
But it was close. It was very close. And in hindsight, it's like, yeah, that was a really stupid thing to do.
I so relate on that though as well, because I feel like my life has been a series of bad decisions of which I have no consequences. Thank
God.
Yeah, like you abandoned that interview, I left school, and it was just kind of a wild gamble at the same time. And it, like, in 99 times out of 100, it shouldn't have worked for me, and it somehow just kind of fell on top of me. But that's crazy. I didn't realize that you abandoned a job interview for it.
No, yeah, it was really close in terms of me actually committing to YouTube full time. And I just got very lucky, because like when I started doing the variety content, it was about 2 weeks after that things really started to boom. So I made a video on like The Sims that I think was like the big one that kind of snowballed things. And that was literally like only 2 weeks after like starting variety content. And from that and the response to that is like the channel just went from like on YouTube, it went from like 100k subs, because I'd been doing like videos for like, just so long at that point, and you accumulate it over time. But in a week, it went from 100k to 200k. And then I was like, oh shit, this is moving fast now. And because YouTube kind of then kicked off, like that all fed into the Twitch channel. And I had this like odd cyclical thing where people will watch the highlights. They want to see the highlights live. They watch the highlights live, and then they want to see the highlight. It's like basically again on YouTube in the more condensed form. And people kept coming back.
Yeah. It's quite the strategy, because it's, as you said, you snowball on YouTube, and then it's just a cycle of all those people coming into Twitch, and Twitch is like, oh, this guy's doing really well, and Twitch starts pushing it, and they come back into YouTube, and YouTube's like, oh, this guy's doing well. It's just an endless loop.
Like, it was crazy for that summer, because I went from, because I was in a fairly like kind of low uncertain point in my life when I was living in Japan. And I was kind of gearing up. It was like, okay, I've seen some of Japan, I've seen some of Tokyo. Now I'm going to just kind of buckle down. We're going to teach. We're going to try and make some income before I eventually come back to Ireland. But because of what happened, it got to the point where it's like, I was just streaming every day. And I was like streaming and like edited. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just working constantly on YouTube now while I'm in Japan. So like for the last like 4 months of living there, it's just like I was literally just in my apartment, and it's like more or less just like flat out editing, flat out streaming like as often as I possibly could on like a really shit internet connection.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, your internet was quite bad. And what?
Yeah, it's like when we played fucking Payday. Like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus. But and like, what's the story there? Because you went there to teach. Did you get like a? I don't know the system. I'm a moron when it comes to these things. But do you get like a year visa that you can just go there?
So yeah, it's like a work and holiday visa.
Okay.
And so I was able to stay there like kind of just for a year. And it's like work and holiday, so it's like even if you holiday more than you actually work, that's okay. It's all encompassed basically. But like I went there initially to teach because I was just kind of fresh out of uni, and I didn't really know again like what to really do with life yet. Because I love doing YouTube and that, and I knew that, and that was my passion. But again, the very real pressure of I have to be able to afford a home someday. I have to be able to buy food, make my own means was kind of kicking in. And I still chanced it for a while, even when I was living in Japan, because it's like this was about June when things took off, and I'd moved there in January. So I was kind of like even reluctant to start teaching, because a part of me was like, I really just want to keep doing YouTube, which in itself was a bit reckless. But it worked out, and I'm glad it did.
I am too. Yeah, great things are built on bad decisions.
It's like advice for YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to get into this too? It's like, just be fucking reckless.
Yeah, just be an absolute fucking moron and make I got an email once.
There's no consequences.
Yeah, I got an email once, and I didn't reply to it because I'm like, I'm not the person to reply to this. But it was like really nice email. He was like, oh, I've watched some of your things with my daughter. I think they're great, but I have a real dilemma. My daughter wants to drop out of school and go after YouTube.
Geez.
Can you explain to her in an email that this is not a good idea? In my head, I was like, I think that would be a bit hypocritical of me.
It's like you can do that. Oh no.
Was there a certain thing, like, because even initially when I did YouTube back in 2009 when I started,
I think it was 2009. Yeah. The old machinima days.
Yeah, but like I never thought it could be a career or like a job of any sort up until I remember making, because I had this How to Annoy series on Call of Duty, for those of people that don't know, and that was making me okay money, but it was being uploaded on machinima and it wasn't a consistent thing. They were really weird to work with. Sometimes they just wouldn't post your video for like 4 months. But then the enemy, I never had any issues with them, to be honest, but I know they did some dodgy shit. But like I remember doing a Killing Floor 2 video and it did quite well, and I was like, maybe I can actually like do this as a job. Like that kind of stuck with me. Was there anything that like it clicked all of a sudden that like, okay, this is gonna work? Like, was it The Sims or?
I mean, it was that moment with The Sims, yeah. Because I remember, because it happened like overnight while I was asleep too, and I remember just like kind of opening up my phone and like checking like the YouTube Studio app, and it was like, how many people just watched it? And it's like, holy shit. And like, it was trending and everything like that, and that's when it kind of just, I took that just kind of as a sign, and I got very fortunate after that too, because like the next like 3 videos that I made immediately after that one, they were all just really well received. Like I did like my first Planet Coaster, I did like a Terraria session, I did like a big Minecraft group server thing like not too long after that, like City Skylines and stuff like that, and that all just happened like one after the other. And it was like after about like 2 weeks of that, and like especially when the channel just went from like 100k to 200k subs, I was like, yeah, okay, we're committing to this. It's like that. You don't get that chance every day.
No, it's rare. I'm kind of the same with my growth on the channel. It was just kind of exploded out of nowhere, and it was just exponential growth. Like I remember looking at it one day and I got like 10 subscribers in a day. Then the next day I was just like, I got like 100 out of nowhere from an Ouya video, and I was like, holy shit.
I remember that. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I remember watching the Ouya video. It's like when it came out, I did like checking back like about a week later. It's like, holy shit! Like it's actually that one's really taken off. It's like Kevin's doing well in his new channel.
Yeah,
like,
it just I have no idea why it took off, but it just kept snowballing, and then YouTube was like, I'm recommending all of your content to everyone on YouTube, and it just pushed everything. All my back catalog was being pushed, and it kept going and going. I remember there was one day that I was literally like, I think I was the second, or it was definitely in the top 5 most subscribed to in one day, where I got like 25 or 35,000 subscribers in one day, which even now is ridiculous. I've not had anything like that since, but it was just, I was like, when is it going to stop? It was all surreal. It was really weird.
No, I mean, I can imagine, yeah, because like, yeah, like our channel is kind of like they had that like explosion, like I think around the same time in 2018, where it was like just a huge period of growth.
Yeah, it's a strange one how YouTube works. And then on the flip side, you can be on the other end of it, where YouTube is like, I'm not going to push this at all for one reason or another. And
sometimes it's just like, you see that new video you made? No one's gonna know.
Yeah.
It's like YouTube, why? Like, it just doesn't tell people.
You log into your YouTube like studio, you expect the confetti, you're like, this was a good video, and then it's like, nah, this one's shit, lad.
10 out of 10.
10 out of
Guess
10.
who's gonna be homeless now? It's like, oh fuck.
And there's so many different things, because I think, and that's kind of what I like about Twitch, it's very simple, whereas YouTube has so many things going on at once. Like I had one video where it just wasn't being pushed to anyone, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I couldn't figure it out. And then there's this thing called Google Vision AI that you can throw an image into, and it'll
Vision AI.
Yeah, it's good. I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
It's free. But it's very interesting for anyone that wants to try it out. You can throw in an image and it'll tell you what it detects. So it'll be like, oh, person, guitar. It's like a joy or whatever. It detects everything, puts a box around it. And in the video, the thumbnail, I was holding like a little plastic axe, and it just said weapon, violence, and all this. And then all I did was change the color, not even of the axe, the background surrounding it, from like a blue to an orange that kind of, I guess, blended in with the axe a bit more. And then the Vision AI was just like, yeah, no violence detected. And then all of a sudden,
the violence is removed.
The violence is gone.
Blue is a very violent color, as we know.
Yeah, and the all of a sudden YouTube was then like, okay, yeah, we'll push it to people now. And it's just like, how was I supposed to know that? And
they don't tell us any of stuff like this. We just have to kind of experiment and try and figure shit out, which is like forever frustration.
It's very frustrating, especially like I was having a problem again recently enough. It's been an ongoing problem where they'll send me in a thing, a little yellow eye going like, oh, your video's been demonetized. So I'm like, oh, what's this? And I go in, it's like, you've been labeled or you've been flagged for hate speech, and then it gives horrible words just censored, and you can't request a review. It's like, this has been confirmed by manual review, you were using hate speech in your videos. And I'm just like, but I'm not though. And at the time I was with a network, and I got back to them and I was like, can you contact YouTube and tell them like that I don't engage in hate speech? And they're like, yeah, we'll get back. And they're like, yeah, it's an error. But I'm like, why does it keep happening? Why does it keep saying I'm doing hate speech?
It's so hateful, Kevin. We need to deplatform you.
It's bizarre.
You've gotten away with this too long.
I don't know, is it like my accent or a certain word I'm saying that it's picking up on? Because it's really random videos too, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. It's bizarre.
It's an odd one, because I get the occasional demonetization as well, and it usually is for swearing, which I'm always like, fair fucks, like, I swear a lot and I do it quite casually.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it's flagged, it's like, I didn't swear any more than usual in that video.
Yeah, like I know there's like a thing within the first minute, and especially the first 15 seconds. Like if you swear in the first 15 seconds, it's gone, and there's no hope. But
that's the thing, because like I routinely swear in the first 15 seconds, and it's fine, and they don't say anything. But then sometimes they'll be like, that one.
Yeah,
stop that one.
It's really weird. It would be interesting to go back on ones that are claimed and aren't claimed and put on captions to see what YouTube thinks we're saying, especially in the with my hate speech. What am I saying that's hate speech that it's detecting? It's really weird.
It's weird. Yeah, YouTube will never understand it fully, try as we might.
No, and I think that's what I do like about Twitch, is that it's just like, if you're doing entertaining content, people will watch. If you're doing chilled out content, you might have less people watching, but it's still super fun. The community is nice to engage with, and it's just black and white, save a few things, as opposed to YouTube where it's like you'd want to be like a wizard to understand everything that goes into it.
Yeah, it's like horribly confusing. I do like Twitch for the consistency. Like it's just a bit more chill. It's like I'll have like streams in that where like I'll just like hop on, and it's like, I just want to like shiny on Pokemon for 4 hours today, And it's like just the people that come are just like, yeah, okay. Like, that's the stream. I don't have to worry about it so much.
And it's really nice to be able to do that. Like, I have the same sometimes where I'm like, I know people won't be super stoked about me playing this game or anything, but I just want to chill and chat with people. And you can actually do that on Twitch, which is just so nice.
Yeah, you don't have to worry so much. It's like, YouTube is really fun, but it's like sometimes you feel like you're at the mercy of an algorithm. And like, it can be agonizing to determine what to make a video on. Yeah, I know something that I always try to keep in the back of my head, just because like what I do on Twitch becomes all my YouTube content. Is it's like the Twitch part and like deciding what I want to stream there, grand, no problem at all. The YouTube part, sometimes it's like, oh fuck, how do I present that? Because I don't know where to start. Like,
yeah, I imagine it must be pretty hard to be like your content on YouTube is solely relying on streams, because you do a really good job of it, but
thanks.
When I tried doing streams for videos, I just found I do sometimes, but I just can't get the right vibe sometimes, depending on how the stream went and what we were playing, and just even formatting it, editing it, sometimes it's hard to make it into a good video out of something that wasn't intended to be one, you know?
Yeah, you have to, because like you have to be really concise with it, and you have to chop so much down. It's like that's almost like the hardest part of it. Is just like if you have like a day where you stream for 6 hours, it's like, how do I take the best 10 minutes and make one video of that?
And especially the longer ones you've done, like some games like the Super Mario Galaxies and stuff like that. Like there's such long streams. I don't know how you edit them down.
Those ones, like, I would not be able to do without my editor Chloe, who I as of like last year has been kind of like on board and like kind of helping out with the channel. But it's like before that, like I would have just been doing everything myself, and it was just exhausting.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about that. I'm glad you got an editor, because it does. I know you get that feeling where you're like, no one can do it the way, like it won't turn out right. There'll be this wrong, that wrong, this, but it takes such a load off your mental well-being.
Yeah, it's like I actually feel like I have a life again, you know, like I can like cook dinner, and it's like, holy shit,
I can survive.
Whoa, like where did this time come from?
But yeah, like I still, people in the chat are just asking, do I have an editor? I have editors as well. I still do a bit myself. I do a final sweep over every video, but like I sure as hell couldn't stream on top of doing the videos and edits, because when I was doing videos and edits to post every day, it was just morning to night, just doing the video and then editing it for the rest of the day.
So like that was pretty much my life and routine, like when I actually lived in Japan, because I would have to stream very early in the morning. It's like 9 o'clock basically, to try and catch the Americans at like a reasonable stream hour. So like 9 a.m. to 12, I would stream 3 hours. Immediately after the stream would end, I would start editing the highlights, and the highlights would then come out at 6 o'clock that same day. So from 9 to 6 every day, it would be a stream, and the stream would become a video and would go out on the same day as the stream a lot of the time. And then I would go out and just kind of explore Tokyo at night. And that was pretty much every day when I lived there. And it's like how I did things, which was just, it was like, in retrospect, it's like, I took years off my life. But you know, that's just how it was. Like that was the situation. And it's just mad how much working I actually go into that. And it's like you know, actually having editors now, it's like, you know, you can breathe a little bit. You know, I still work on every video to like a degree. You know, and I go over every single one as well. But yeah, it's like life changing.
Yeah. It really is. One second there, I just got to mute 1 second. I just want to say
no worries.
Soylent, thank you so much for the 20 subs, and also with Dan's webcam gang. It's I can't use his normal camera.
I don't know if you can still hear me.
We have to use the webcam, but
he might be able to.
That's the only reason it's white on my stream and not on his. So I can't do anything about it. But sorry about that. But anyway.
whisper quietly.
I'm back then. Sorry, I just had to explain the webcam because they were like, "Why does it look so different?" Kevin, fix it. Why haven't you fixed his camera? And I was just I can't do anything.
This is just how pale and pasty I am.
That's the thing. Like even now, I look extremely pale now, but I actually am paler. I think. Like if I was outside, I would look so much paler. It's just because my light's a bit more warm in here. But
I always make my lights like a bit more yellow just to get the lighting kind of nice with the camera.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The Irish were not built for the sun.
No, and I remember it. I used to be like super self-conscious about it when I started YouTube. I was just like, I didn't really even want to do webcam because I'm like so pale. And I don't think people realize like that it's pretty common here. But I'm glad now I just kind of memed on it and I really don't care. Like it's just how I am. I'm super pale and I just kind of accept it. I got used to it and I'm like, I like that I'm pale. I think I'd look weird if I was all bronzed up.
Just you with a tan.
So weird.
Could you imagine? It's like, what have you done with Kevin? This continental cousin.
My therapist like tanned Kevin can't hurt you. He isn't real. It would be a bit of a terrifying sight. What were we saying before that? We were talking about.
I think we were talking about like someone emailing you and asking for advice about like dropping career to start YouTube, and you said it was a bit hypocritical to do.
Yeah,
we went on from that a bit.
Yeah, like
we're talking about Twitch and YouTube there too.
What do you think you would say your favorite platform is, or is that a loaded question to pick between your two children?
Twitch. No, it's
okay,
Twitch.
All right.
Yeah,
YouTube is
there's
dead.
no contest. Yeah, like the decision was made even when I was going to the teaching, where it's like I'm going down that route where it's like if I could only do one, it's Twitch. Like
that's fair.
I just
though.
have more fun with it.
And I can understand why. To be fair. There are a lot of benefits on Twitch. Like I love YouTube. It's like it's my child, but I hate it, you know, because I love the fact that I'm making videos. I love the process of it. I love that people watch them and enjoy them, and I really am passionate about it. But then the platform itself is just so cruel sometimes.
There's just a lot of like bullshit and like hoops you gotta jump through, and it's frustrating.
It really is.
I could feel your pain right now.
Yeah, and like I think this is the first time in a long time that I'm seriously considering doing like maybe just temporarily, but just like skipping a day, so every other day I post videos as opposed to every day, because it can be so draining to put in so much effort and work and still feel like it's just not working.
Yeah, I think I've said that before to you. It's like, I don't know how you fucking do it where you're doing the daily uploads, because like that seems exhausting, man. You know, even with editors and that brought on board, it's like, because you're doing like 7 videos a week and you're doing like on average like 4 or 5 streams a week now on top of that, and you're still doing a bunch of extra shite like around that, and like even like the plan and organization side of things, and it's just, I don't know how you do it, man. Like you gotta get some downtime somewhere. Like I hope you do.
Like the only free time I have essentially is Monday and Friday evenings.
Okay,
but I don't mind putting in the work because I feed off the productivity, but at the same time I feel like I'm spinning so many plates. Like it's only recently I got someone to help with my emails. That's helped a lot. But and then I'm doing everything at 70% instead of putting all my heart into just Twitch and making videos. I feel like I'm like, oh, I need a game to do a video on rather than, oh, I have so many ideas to do videos on. But I feel like maybe if I tried like a few weeks or a month of doing a video every second day, I could focus on the really good ideas and polish them up extra. Like I'd probably put in the same time, but I think the product would be better, like the video as a finished piece of content.
I mean, you'd actually be giving yourself, you know, like a chance to breathe and like a bit of rest, you know.
Yeah,
and that might be a good thing. It's like, cause like I do the every other day route, like pretty much with YouTube. It's like my limit is like 4 uploads, occasionally 5 a week. And it's like anymore, and I've gotten to like a comfortable point now where I'm just like, even if I have more stuff than that I want to upload, I'll just be like, well, I'm just gonna take my time and I'm gonna wait to upload, and I'll just save it for like a week. And it makes this nice bit of security where it's like, sometimes like if I have a busier 2 weeks, the 3rd week after it, it's like, well, all the videos are done this week now. I can actually relax and like take it a bit easy and like, just actually get some time off and away, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I know another thing I'm going to be doing too, because like lockdown is kind of weird for us, because it's like when we're in lockdown, we're just in work mode a lot more often, and we don't get out as often. We can't really get away from our jobs. But I know that a big thing I'm doing is when lockdown ends and I've got my vaccine, I'm just disappearing for a month. Like I'm just taking a month off, and it's like I'm going on holiday.
Yeah, and that attitude is so healthy. Like when you went to Iceland, you went for a month as well, didn't you?
Yeah. It was a 3-week road trip. That was so much fun.
Godspeed.
So good.
It's like, bless that man, because I think I'd be too scared to leave for a month. I don't know how I'd feel about it. I think I'd struggle a month. I think I could do a week going away. And that's something I've thought about as well, because streaming is obviously, I can't work up front for streaming. So if I disappear for a few weeks, I'm gone. But how did you find that worked on Twitch? Like, just because I found people are super understanding. Did you just say, look, I got to go for a month. I got to look after myself, and you came back and nothing had changed? Or...
Yeah, like nothing changed. Like people were super understanding, and like I just have to make a few posts when it's saying like, "Hey, I'll be back on this day." Basically, give people a heads up. That's like, "Oh, he's alive again." Yeah, because even if you say you're going on a holiday, people are just like, "He's dead. He's never coming back."
Dude, when I leave the screen, my chat like, "Kevin's dead." If I'm 1 minute early, gone. He's dead. Rip Kevin. Anyway, moving on. Let's go see what Dan is playing. Just move on so quick.
Oh God.
Wait, I don't think I've taken a proper break.
You got like when lockdown ends, right? It's like, we'll whisk yourself and Anna away. We'll find like a nice place in like continental Europe or something. We'll get like a nice like kind of poolside place, have a barbecue, and we're just gonna escape the internet a while, and it'll be fucking lovely.
That does sound nice, because I do find, I think especially nowadays, like I say to myself sometimes, maybe I should move to 5 videos a week or something, and maybe I should try and just chill out more. But then like when I have a day off, I'm just like, what do I do? I'm just kind of sitting there, and I just don't know what to do with myself. I don't know.
I mean, that sensation takes a lot of time though, because I always get that, and it's like, it's that overwhelming like kind of like itch that's like, I could be working right now, I could be doing something. But it's like the big thing is like I've just forced myself to invest in my hobbies more. Like basically, and I just be like, I'll sit down and like I have to like pump myself up for it, almost like make an effort. It sounds so silly, because it's like, I'll just be like, today I'm building a Lego set, so help me God. But that's what I have to do, and it'll get me away from it, and I'll actually have a chill time. And it gets a bit easier over time to do that too. Like, you just got to kind of train it.
And what stuff have you been up to in lockdown? Because obviously things are limited, and especially like where you're at, you can't exactly go out for a walk in the countryside, right?
Yeah, Dublin City. I've been in my bunker for a good old while now. I mean, a lot of the time, like, I'm reading these days. I've been catching up on a lot of, like uni books and that I want to sink more time into. I've been making Lego. I've been playing games in my off time too, and just having kind of a blast with them. It's been super chill. Playing stuff like Celeste. I've been writing again, because I'm just a nerd for all that kind of stuff. I used to write all the time before YouTube took over my life in 2018, and I've been doing that. I've been spending time with friends, kind of get like a bit of a social fix. my go-to is I hop in VR and have drinks with folks. That's fucking class, and I would strongly recommend it.
I did join you on one, and it was a wild experience. I think I was a bit destroyed, like just mentally just run down, but it was very bizarre and fun. I gotta say, like when you go into the room and everyone is dressed as like a super old man, and there's like 15 people all crawling around the ground, and you're just like, whoa,
this is getting weird real quick.
I'm starting to think I'm like a Walmart RTGame, because all the stuff you've been mentioning is like I tried a bit of writing when I got super restless with lockdown. I was like going to try and write like a little script for like a little animated thing. I thought I came up with some good ideas, but I found it hard to sit down and do it. And I made some Lego sculptures. In fact, hold on 1 second. Give me 2 seconds. It's in the next room.
You getting your Lego?
Show you my Lego.
Oh, what did Kevin make for class today? Go on, Kevin. Go show us what you have for us. It's show and tell. He's dead again. He's dead again. Can we get an F in the chat for him? Like, God love him, he's perished.
I feel like a child bringing my Lego to my parent to show them how good it is.
What you got there, Kevin? What did you make? Oh my God.
Second, let me get these on.
That's like freeform Lego too. That's not like following an instruction booklet or anything, is it?
I'm not very good at instructions.
You made like your own little home. Oh, yeah, God love you.
This wait, you have to guess which house is mine and which is Anna's. So it's kind of hard to get good angles here, but we got.
You got the bright red house.
This is the red house. It's got a car in it for some reason. It's got that there.
I like that one archway that serves absolutely no purpose sticking off the edge.
So, if you were to guess, which house would you say is mine and which is Anna's?
I mean, the red one is clearly Anna's. Has to be, because she is fond of red.
You got it right. Anna tweeted it, and she was like, "Oh, guess who did which?" And everyone was saying, obviously, the red is Kevin's, and I was like, but I put in so much work, like, oh,
don't drop it.
There goes my work. It was all mixed matched. This is so hard to balance. This is gonna fall apart. This is like
Kevin's home is collapsing.
As you can tell, this
Kevin, you gotta put it down, man. If you don't want it, you don't destroy your home. Right, it's not worth it.
This used to flip up, and you could look inside. But look, sure, that's the fun about building. The part where it falls apart.
You get a cheeky sneak peek if you open it up. You just like rip off the first floor.
So yeah, that's my Lego.
Oh God, that's lovely. But fair play for actually building like freeform without instructions, because I'm all about the instructions. I just find it therapeutic.
I can definitely see why, but I also find it frustrating. It's again, it just relates to videos doing the tutorials. I just get to a point where I want to have fun, and I just start going. I follow the instructions. I can't find a piece, and I'm like, I'll make it up, and yeah, it's chaos. It's a good analogy of even I remember when we did a little interview with that reporter in Dublin.
The magazine Insomnia.
Yeah, it was for a French magazine, and just like the different process is like they were asking how we go about doing it, and I'm like, I just boot up the game and what happens, and Dan was explaining about how he creates the idea and how he executes it, and I was thinking I should probably do that.
Oh God, you're grand, man.
But you do come up with very good ideas, especially I think with the early days of like the Sims, City Skylines, and the Minecraft stuff you do now. Like it's hard to put a spin on things that people haven't done before, and you seem to have quite a knack of coming up with an idea, and especially getting it working on stream is quite difficult because tech issues and whatnot. Getting how many people into a server? What was the most recent one you did? What was the cap on that server?
I mean, the cap was unlimited, but we created like a prisoner's dilemma, I believe, because so many people tried to join that they created this like hierarchy between those who are on the server those who were high in the queue and those who were low in the queue. And it was absolute anarchy. It's like we got 500 in the end, but there was like 2,000 or something ridiculous like that in the queue by the end of it, and it was just like, oh fuck, like everything melted.
Oh my god, that is insane.
It was good fun.
I think that's one of the things about Twitch that still intimidates me. Is just like when you're doing new things or trying ambitious ideas, you're like, what if it all burns apart live? And then you gotta try and actually fix it live, and people are, it's like, oh, this, I can't see the screen, I can't hear this, I can't hear that, and you're just panicking trying to fix everything.
Oh, you see, that's half the fun for me. It's like when I just started hearing that there's 1,000 people stuck in the queue and they can't get on the server, like I like broke out laughing, because that was just so fucking funny to me. That it's like we were effectively just DDoSing our own server as time went on, and I love that. It's like, yeah, like my advice is, like, when stuff like that happens, is you just fucking roll with it and see where it goes. Because like that chaos and like dysfunctional like stream could be the content in of itself. Yeah, I've had streams in that where it's like I'll just I'll just let Twitch chat decide what I'm doing, and it's a complete fucking mess. As you'd expect, but those have been some of my favorite streams, because it's just, I don't know what's gonna happen, and we just gotta improv and wing it.
Yeah, to be fair, there are bright sides to it like that as well. But there is like a moment of panic when I'm like going to play a game. It hasn't happened in a while now, but it's like just not displaying on OBS, or I can't get the sound working, or something to the point where it literally cannot progress until I fix this. And it's like 15 minutes of trying to tech support myself, and I've started to accept that I'm just not good with technology, although I may have been at one point. I don't know much about it. I don't keep up with it.
It's like I'm getting on in years.
I've been thinking about that recently.
Oh no! It's like I was just joking there. You're like, yeah. So I've been considering my mortality.
Well, that too. But then I've been walking around with a walking stick for the past 2 weeks, so I'm starting to realize that I'm getting on. You know, I'm just kidding. No. But my foot is killing me.
Have you actually got a walking stick at the moment?
I have got a walking stick. I've got I honestly, nothing happened. I'm just falling apart, which only cements my thoughts further. I especially on stairs, I've been using the walking stick on and off because my foot is fecked. That's what I was on antibiotics for. I've been on it for a month now, and I still have another like week and a half to go. So.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right. It could be worse. But what was I saying? Yeah, I don't know. The past like 3 years or so, I've just lost interest in technology, and I just can't keep up, and I have no interest in keeping up. I think there's definitely a point where my life went from only gaming and only technology to like, let's do other things too, and actually try and be a more versatile human. God.
I mean, maybe if you go the like less videos a week route, like you'll have a bit more time to like maybe be able to process some stuff like that, you know? Yeah. Because it could just be a lack of time thing.
It could be, but also I think I've started to realize there are more important things than, like, I couldn't name the parts in my computer anymore or anything. I couldn't tell you anything about new tech or anything like that. I sometimes just log into Instagram and I'm like, how do I do a story? That kind of thing. So God. I just rather focus on other things.
Fair, yeah.
So although my life depends on technology, I don't want my life to be technology, I guess.
I mean, that's understandable. I mean, we need a bit of a break from it. Like we have this weird dilemma too, where if we play like video games in our off time, depending on the game, it can feel like work. Which is just like you know, defeats the point of it, because you know we're playing games because they're fucking fun. Yeah. But it's like this weird kind of mental thing because we're just so involved with them.
Yeah, it's just like your whole life at some point, and especially with lockdown. Although, funnily enough, I think lockdown has shifted me again more the other direction, away from technology and gaming a bit. Like, I still love it, but I'm just like, I want to do other things, and lockdown kind of forced me like, you gotta, otherwise this is all you're going to be doing. Is there anything in this lockdown that actually you did pick up because of lockdown, or you changed for the better because of it? Do you think?
I mean, lockdown, I guess, because like I was pushed into basically a lot of isolation and forced to spend time with myself. It did push me to kind of reinvest in like hobbies and even like old TV shows and stuff like that I used to watch. It's I feel like a kind of stronger sense of myself come the other side because I think before it was like a case where it's like I was working and then constantly doing something else and going out and going somewhere, and like work was basically encompassing everything. I didn't really have time to stop and think about much of anything and what I was doing. But lockdown was good in that because I was forced to spend a lot of time with myself, and from that I was able to learn a lot about myself. And I feel like that's only been a benefit because I just understand myself a lot more come the other side. I like the things I like, the things I don't. And it's like the things that I need to push myself a little bit to kind of do, to kind of keep myself sane. And like there's things I've almost like neglected and haven't really spent as much time on. Like a big one for a long while is, like I mentioned, I stopped writing. And so it's like, turns out, it's like for my own sense of like mental stability, that writing is very important to me. And if I go a long time without writing or without reading, I start to kind of question, like, you know, I get the old existential dread, and I start asking a lot of questions like, what am I doing here? What's the point of it? And it's like books and writing shit helps me figure that out, and it gives me kind of like a better sense of purpose. And because of lockdown and because of having that time, I've been forced, quite cruelly forced, to have fun with that again, which has been nice.
Yeah, like obviously anything to undo the damage that has been done with this pandemic, and like I think we all obviously wish none of this happened, but yeah, just trying to focus on some more of the positives. I feel the exact same way of like just reflecting and like sometimes just thinking I the amount of times I've thought to myself this lockdown and just been like, I really don't like this aspect of myself, and not in a negative way that it's like, fuck, I'm awful. It's just like, I need to change this because I still have time to change as a person and be different and be more who I want to be rather than the way I've been acting. Because sometimes I don't know, I just act in ways that I'm like, this isn't me, but I'm doing it for some reason.
It's all the hate speech coming out again. It's back.
Like just getting too focused on work or forgetting what's important and stuff, and mentally knowing what's right but not doing it because it's too much effort, or just because I seem to be hardwired into a different way of thinking, and just trying to reverse it to be like actually a better person. Because there are sometimes I think to myself, I'm fuck dude, I'm not a good person. But
we all get those kind of crises, and that.
Yeah,
so, you're not alone there. We all give that a big think.
Yeah,
but you just keep doing your best because that's all you can do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think while it's weird because it sounds like such a negative thing, and the chat is just like this existential and all this, but it's not a bad thing in my eyes because I've actually faced problems rather than just ignoring it. I'm like, okay, this is a problem with me, like objectively I can fix this, and trying to work towards it. But the lockdown's definitely, I think, made most people just super reflective on one thing or another, because you have nothing to do but think.
What else are we gonna do?
Yeah. And like, we're super lucky, you and I, that we get to work during this whole pandemic. And
no, I mean, it's just like definitely kind of helped just kind of keep me sane like through a lot of it. And like, I don't know how I would have got through it if I wasn't doing this as like for a living. Because it's just something to kind of like look forward to and actually still define the days. Which is I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, because I think some people, like especially people who are in cities and may not have places to go, and if they don't have a job to focus on or nothing to drive them, it must be very hard to actually push yourself to do one thing or another to keep your mind busy and just stay happy. I go mad when I have nothing to do. I get super restless, and it just puts me in a really bad place, I think.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Yeah, it's one of the things like I worked out too. It's like because I think before it's like it's just like I would like do all my work, and then if I did have a bit of downtime, I would just do nothing but rest. But I worked out like from lockdown that it's like actually I don't necessarily want to do that. I just want to have a different creative outlet basically. So I want to still like I want to still have fun doing something, not just do nothing when the work stops, because that was giving me a crisis, and that got it into my head. It's like all I am worth is my output on like YouTube and Twitch, which is simply not a healthy mindset. And so just being in lockdown kind of forced me to spend a lot of time on things like that and just work out. It's like, okay, well, what do I like? So that's why in January I watched entire 10 seasons of Friends, because I lost control of my life over a 3-week period and felt that I need to reconnect with the entire cast of Friends in a very intimate manner and to see if it holds up. And it was wonderful. I'm going to do it again next year. I'm so excited.
That is amazing. I imagine just sitting there in the dark, like just eating ice cream, like, Joey, you're the only one that gets me, man. So glad to have you back in my life.
I've never connected so hard with Chandler in all my years.
Yeah, it's a fun show to rewatch and just be like mindless whatever. I've rewatched that series so much, not recently, but I used to just listen to it to get to sleep and stuff. It's just one of those shows. It's like comforting. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It is oddly comforting.
Yeah,
it's like another what I've started doing like sometimes in that, cause like when I was younger, like I would very often have dinner watching Simpsons.
Yeah.
Because it was just like 6 o'clock on RTE2 basically, and I just kind of took that back up like a while into lockdown, just as like a nice nostalgic thing, and it's actually it's very comforting. It's just like I'm just having my dinner and I'm watching an episode of The Simpsons. 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it is nice. I've been rewatching a bit of The Simpsons as well recently. It's just again a comfort show. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice comforting thing.
The Simpsons holds up really, really well.
Yeah, the old ones. Yeah, they're still good.
Very, very good. What was I going to say to you earlier? I think I wanted to ask you about just initially, like, what started getting your I guess focus on variety content?
I mean, so like the people I always watch would happen to be doing variety, and it's always it's funny for you to ask that, because I've told you before that I've watched it for years. I've seen pretty much everything you've done since the How to Annoy days.
That shocked me, because I did not realize you watched the old channel. I knew you were aware of my channel with the new one, but I didn't realize you would watch the old stuff and you came over to the new channel with like the 7,000 or 8,000 people who came initially over. That kind of blew my mind, to be honest. And even when you met a friend of mine who had appeared on my old channel, you were like, "Oh, I know you from Kevin's old videos." I was just like, "Whoa!" I had no idea. It was pretty cool.
No, that was wild. Yeah. But yeah, it's like because I still I remember like finding even your YouTube channel outside of Machinima when it was like they had the trend in Ireland tab, and all of your Minecraft videos had that one same thumbnail of the fucking block with the diamond pickaxe. I remember even seeing that. It's like, Jesus, hard to tell what episode I'm on.
It must have been awful. It was literally the same picture for every thumbnail. That was like the only time I did daily content on the old channel. And it's just thinking about how stupid I was back then, because I was posting every day with the idea of doing this Let's Play for a full month. And on top of that, I was like asking people to go vote for this picture I took to win a camera, which was no fucking good in the end, off this Irish website that it was like basically voting for the best picture in Ireland and all this. But I'm just like, what the fuck was I doing? And even with the channel name, the ZX No Regrets, like the reason it had ZX No Regrets with 2 Zs and then XZ was because ZX was kind of popular in name format on Xbox, and that's what I used. And then I went to make my YouTube channel, left it there for a few weeks, forgot the password, so I had to remake another one and add an extra Z on. So
no.
I'm just like, God, I was stupid. And then, like, even now I think back to, like, when I was 20 and I'm like, fuck, I was stupid. 22, God, I was stupid. 24, I'm like, what will I think in 2 years? Will I look back at this moment and be like, God, you're an idiot?
I mean, I can't talk as a former Rumble Tumble Games when I set up my YouTube channel.
I mean, at least you can always point to me and say his was worse, because mine was a lot worse. But where did that come from, the Rumble Tumble?
I originally, when I set up the channel, I was thinking I'd do a lot more League of Legends. The main character I played was Rumble.
I love Rumble.
And he does a little animation where he tumbles out of his mech. Hence Rumble Tumble. And that's honestly where it came from. Like, I thought, because like I set it up with my friends and we all played League, and we thought originally that we were going to play a lot more League of Legends. We played it like twice in the channel's history. That's it.
So would that have been?
Yeah, so it's like the origin there.
After TF2, you were going into League of Legends?
No. So it's TF2. TF2 was never planned to be the big thing that took over.
It was kind of just a thing that was popular, and you kept doing it recurring. It was never meant to be what you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. It did define the channel for a long while. Yeah. So like, to get back to like how we moved to variety content.
I went on a ramble.
No, you're grand. You're grand. But it's like, even when I set up the channel back in 2011, the plan always was I wanted to just play games and do variety. So it's like the first series that like I made with my friends was Terraria. And that's how we got our start. And we did like the classic Minecraft Let's Play too. And then it was around then that I started dabbling in TF2 stuff. But even throughout all the TF2 stuff, like I was doing Pokemon, I was doing Hearthstone. I did like a game called Dungeon Defenders a lot through the years. That was good crack. But like for variety, specifically in 2018 is when I sat down and I decided it's like, because I having the old existential crisis at that point in my life, trying to work out how I'm going to afford food, I decided that if I was going to keep up YouTube in any capacity, I wanted to do it on my own terms. And so in doing that, I looked to a lot of like the creators that I was simply watching at the time, and the big three that I kind of like inspired that were yourself. There was Kraken, because I used to watch a lot of his content, and then there was Germa 985. Germa for me is like he's my absolute hero, and he's just like one of like my favorite creators. And I just kind of looked at like their content and the kind of like the things that they were doing and like how they presented themselves. In kind of like a way where they could just do anything. It's a weird thing to talk about, because I remember going through videos on your fucking channel and I remember taking notes for things like your titles to try and understand what you were doing with your titles.
Good luck, because I didn't. That's interesting, though. It's a very strategic, smart, and RT approach to go through and actually prepare and try and get a good understanding of what you want to go into.
It was just like, it's like I remember just looking at the titles. Like, it wasn't in a way where it's like I want to steal his titles or anything like that, but it's like these titles and this presentation style I find very appealing, and I wanted to understand why. And it was kind of just like the blatant honesty in the titles that I just found very refreshing. And so I know from that I was like, okay, I want to make my own title formats then. And that's how I was going to start presenting my content. So like the first one I did was I did a redundant title that was Skyrim is a flawless masterpiece with no flaws whatsoever. And the whole point was to present as many flaws as possible in the edited format. And also the redundancy in the title was like part of the joke, because I very much, something I always liked with your content is before you've even seen the video, you get a joke in with the name of the video. And that's something that I thought is appealing. And I thought about that in the YouTube sense, where it's like, that's the first thing most people see. It's just the name and the thumbnail. And I think a lot of people kind of take that for granted, because there were some other channels I watched in that point where they would just do long Let's Play content, and the name of the video would be something Let's Play X Game Part 46 channel name, and then the actual title. And it took so long to get to the actual fucking title that it's just like, Jesus, it's long-winded. And I remember even seeing some of those as like, well, I've missed the other 45 parts of this Let's Play. I guess I can't watch this video.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking about that even when I was doing things like The Sims as a series for the first time, because it's like, okay, I want it to be a series, but I want every single part to stand on its own so that you don't necessarily have to have seen the other few Sims videos I've made. And I remember that was like kind of a huge thing, and kind of deciding like the variety of content and like the approach for it. And it was basically a way of presenting myself, at least on YouTube, in a way that like I actually quite liked, because I felt like up until that point, it's like I just kind of had. I had interest in titles I like to think for my TF2 content, but there was some stuff where it was just like it didn't feel like it stood out enough. So, and it's like, even by virtue of doing that, it was kind of nice for like coming up with new ideas for videos, because I would even think about some things as like, what would be a funny way of presenting this, you know, and like that itself will kind of lend into like the video on YouTube. And it wouldn't be the deciding thing, but it's like, I know, for instance, like one I did like a while back that I had a lot of fun playing, and I kind of went in blind, I didn't know what to expect, was a game called Bug Snacks, which is a right barrel of laughs, super kid friendly. Turns out it gets real fucking twisted as the game goes on. And so when it came to the YouTube highlights for that, is like initially, like even before like the highlights were made, I very much knew the style of content I wanted, and the title was Bug Snacks, a psychological horror game for kids.
And that was a really good title, and the thumbnail as well with the split down the middle, like I looked at that and I was like, that is so simple, but it's really good. Like it shows you exactly what you need to know. If you're interested in it, you'll click on it, and it's very eye-catching, just the way it was, just the character looking split down the middle. It was really solid.
But that's the thing, yeah, because I wanted to show like the game, and like I wanted to show in that video the transformation of this game, and like there's a lot of things I even say like before I had context of the ending, where I'm joking about how cute it is, or how twisted it would be if it all gets fucked up in the game. And then for the highlights, like working with Chloe, we were very much like, keep all of those moments in, because it's fucking comedy gold come the end. And so that video was like a lot of fun to put together and kind of present, because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like just variety content is like I just looked to like kind of the creators that I already looked up to, and like the stuff they were doing, and like the things that I liked about their content, and from that I was really able to kind of work out for myself what I wanted to do. And because of that, it was just so much more fun. Like it felt really liberating. And it's like I'd be doing like a lot of redundant titles. I'd be doing like kind of just like stupid like title formats. It would be like A Man Who Can't Cook plays a cooking game. And it's like, but I'd have a like great time with it, because it's just like I can very I have a strong sense of what I'm doing, and I have a lot of fun with it, and it's been great crack.
That's the main thing. It's interesting that you talk about that aspect of creating a series where you can jump in at any point, because I remember that being a big focus of myself when I was doing videos. I was like, I want to do The Sims regularly, but I want it where you can just jump in. You don't need any context, really. Like, you can just enjoy the video without it, and even try to get to a point where you don't really even need to know the game. You can just kind of watch, and you're just like, all right, I've never played The Sims, but this guy's like creating this basement, there's a cult going on, and it's just a standalone video. So it's interesting to hear you talk about it the exact same way.
Yeah. No, because I remember like even like I remember even looking at that like specifically The Sims, like when you were making it, and it's like something I quite liked is, even if you haven't seen the other, like, you know, like I don't know how many episodes of Jim Pickens were on at this point, but like even if you haven't seen all of that, it's still a funny video, and that context isn't necessarily required, which I thought was always something quite cool. And so I was like, for my own style and presentation, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like I try to just avoid defining things by a number if I can. Now I do it some more now for like really sequential games where it just doesn't make sense unless it's part of a sequence. It's like, so I did like a playthrough of like Hollow Knight the other week, and it's like for that game, because it's like a linear kind of story progression, it's like it makes sense to just put that number there because it's a sequential thing. But even when I do stuff with numbers like that, I'm like conscious of the amount of time and the amount of overall videos there may even be in the series. And if I do have to use numbers, I'm like, let's keep it a small amount of videos and like really try condense it so that it's not an overwhelming amount. Because I think it's like, if it's like part 4 of a series rather than part 47, you're more likely to give it a chance.
Yeah, 100%. Like when you get to that extent, like even with my own Sims, there is a lot of overwhelming aspects to it, and a lot of backstory, on-running jokes and stuff like that are just, it's hard to get into. But it's interesting even that frame of mind, because I was going so focused on comedy rather than gaming. Like I would have said I was focused as a comedy channel rather than a gaming channel, which is kind of weird because I only do gaming. But that was like the focus, to the point where even doing this now, whereas like I'm like, it's good crack and everything, but it's a lot more serious focused. I always think of the first time we did the Insomnia thing. Was that your first stage show as well, the one that we went to in Birmingham?
Yes, that was. Okay. Yeah,
because I remember doing that, and for the first time, and I remember, I've told it a few times so I won't say it again, but I'd passed the area where we were doing the stage show. There was like a few benches about the size of that couch, maybe about 6 of them, and I was like, all right, I just hope people show up, because there was like 2 people watching the event that was on. We came by the next day, the whole place was filled. Every spot on the floor there was someone sitting on the floor, and I was just like, holy shit, like people actually want to like learn about us rather than just laughing at funny content or whatever. And even when we were on the stage, the guy was asking all these questions and they were so serious. I was like, no one wants to know that. I don't want to learn about me. So I was just making jokes out of everything. So I was like, no one cares. But then I think Twitch refocused me a bit and just was like, okay, maybe there are people that actually care about me as a person rather than just watching a video and laughing along with it.
Yeah, of course people care, yeah.
It's just interesting how Twitch can really show you that, because I guess it's all live and you're getting live feedback. And again, even just learning about the community was pretty wild. I thought it would be very different. I thought I'd never expected them to be so wholesome and nice, like all the people who were watching along, and so understanding about everything.
No, yeah, because the community that comes over the Twitch, like, it's a smaller portion of like the YouTube audience and that, and because they've made that trek over, they tend to be very like a wholesome bunch. And yeah, it's like you could stream like whatever, and like there'd still be people coming in to see what you're up to, because they just it's like, oh, Kevin's doing something. It's not Kevin that's doing X.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice, that feeling that people actually care about you rather than just shut up, I want funny, make me laugh, dance yeah. kind of thing. It's a nice feeling, I gotta say. But it can be super overwhelming as well, because I'm just like, this is wild. But I am glad it's so nice, because I find, especially on like on YouTube and other platforms, a lot of criticism that isn't constructive, I just ignore it. I just do not care at all. But I find on Twitch, for some reason, it hits harder because it's live. If someone's being a dick for some reason, it hits harder. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's just because you might be trying your best with something, or something's not going right, you're aware it's not going right, and then you have someone in the chat saying like, pointing it out or making comments about me or whatever. It can be pretty brutal. Like it's really rare, but it's a strange experience.
Yeah, it's like sometimes like you get that one fucker, if you're having tech difficulties, that just like chimes in. It's like, he's losing viewers.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you. Get out of here.
Because that is very different than like someone just saying, oh, Boomer Kev, because I'm like, yeah, I'm booming, sorry about that. But then if someone says something like that, it's like, that is so harsh. It just seems like you're trying to hurt the person. That's exactly what I mean.
It's like, what is your goal here, other than to just make us upset with comments like that?
But I have tried to, again, just refocus it, because sometimes I think it's strange. You can think of this person as yourself, weirdly enough. I'll try and explain that because that's a weird statement, but like if someone comes into the chat and it's like, Kevin, you're shit and you are fat and I hate you, and then you're like, I automatically think that is a 27-year-old who's just flaming me and they're hating me for no reason. But it's like, it could be like an 8-year-old though. Like I try and just refocus it, like it could be literally anyone, and it's just trying to get that into my head that like, while don't excuse the bad behavior, don't get too caught up in it because it literally could be anyone.
You shouldn't, like, not every criticism is one you should take to heart. You know,
exactly.
Because it's like sometimes it's someone who's just angry because they've just had a shit day or something and they're just taking it out on an internet personality. Sure.
Yeah.
It's like it's like because they're not gonna, they're not thinking about you in a moment like that. So don't think about them really. You don't have to worry about it. It's
exactly. It could be someone who's just going through a legitimate horrible time. It could be someone who is just trolling. It could be someone who's saying it without realizing the impact of what they're saying. It could be a child. It could literally be anything. So sometimes I'm just like, just don't take it to heart.
It's like over the years, because I still try to actually read like most of my YouTube comments, which I know is like a very overwhelming task just because there's so fucking many and they're always coming in. And it's like for a while, it's like there would always be some negative ones that would just really get under my skin. And I would straight up like even reply to like a comment like that and just say, fuck off. And like just completely call them out. I was like, would you stop? But like, even with that, I've like kind of trained myself the last while. It's like, you don't gotta say anything. You don't even have to do that. It's like they're just angry for whatever reason. Just ignore it.
Yeah. I think,
and just like choosing not to care about some stuff like that has been like just really good for the old mental health.
Oh, for sure. It's a weird line to be like, do I react to this? Do I not? Do I address this? Because sometimes things do need to be addressed. But I think with you, the same as me, I feel like you're a reasonable person. I'm a reasonable person. I think any genuine reaction is like, it's fair. Sometimes someone does say something to me in chat and I'm just like, oh, dude, feck off. Come on, give me a break. And that's it. I just move on. It's not a big deal. But I'm like, come on, don't be doing that.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, come on, there's no need for that. But yeah,
I would just stop.
Yeah, stop it now. I've definitely gotten used to it more. It was just a bit of a culture shock at the start, getting like live criticism or just mean people occasionally.
They're coming at you live.
Live on twitch.tv, a hateful viewer. But again, I mean this super minority because I am so lucky, and as you are, our communities are so nice. Why do you think that is? I know that's a big question, but I think you know what I mean. Like, why do you think that we both have such just wholesome and nice communities? It seems so rare.
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure myself, but I'm very thankful for them because they are a wholesome bunch, and I always find it quite ironic because it's like in our content and that we're just causing fucking chaos and like just destroying shit, and then it's like everyone is just so wholesome and lovely. It's like sending hearts is like another like school burns to the ground. And it's like it's a weird dissonance. But I'm very thankful for our community, sure, because I know there's a lot of overlap between the two.
Yeah.
I know our subreddits and of course our Twitters this year had our annual exchange for April Fools,
where they just swapped over.
Yeah, that's always quite funny to see.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, and why I was so shocked to see everyone was so nice and wholesome, both in person and on like Twitch and whatnot. Because I thought there would be a bit of an edgier audience that might be there might be a few toxic people in there just because of the weird content we make, but it just didn't seem to happen, and it honestly just seems near impossible how nice both of our communities are. It doesn't seem like it's doable. Everyone I raid, and I'm sure you're the same, is overwhelmed because they think, oh, we need 100 mods to deal with this, but it's actually like, no, these people are super nice actually.
It's like for the most part we can work things out. Like, no, I'm thankful for that. It's like I think the most I have to do for my community sometimes is just we have to go like no spoiler mode, and it's like be quite strict about that because it's like a plot heavy game or something as a fandom. Yeah. But it's like for the most part, like they're just a really good bunch. And can't say it enough. Like we're just really thankful for you. We don't have like angry mobs, or it's like you don't have horror stories about like things our communities have done. Like I know sometimes in the past I've gotten a little anxious just about people comparing us sometimes, but I think that's just that comes from a place where because I've watched you all my life and I've got a lot of respect for you, and it's like sometimes there'll be someone that's like bootleg Kevin is streaming, and it's like it'll just like if I'm having a bad day it'll set me off.
Yeah, and I get the same vice versa every now and again. Again, it's one of those things that like the pale thing. Like when I was starting in my original channel, if someone was like, "Oh, you're so fucking pale," that would really have bothered me. The same as being like, "Oh, you're copying X, Y, and Z." But both those things just roll off me now, and I don't know whether it's because I've just embraced it and I'm just like discount Dan here or what. It's just like I'm making the joke myself, so it's kind of like if you're saying it, you're just going along with my own joke. I don't know what shifted there to make those things not bother me as much. It's a strange one because it is frustrating when you get people saying you're copying X, Y, and Z when you're not. Like you can compare anyone to anyone else by connecting the dots, but like there's just no copying there. It's bizarre, and again, it just seems like a hurtful thing to say. I don't know. Yeah,
it's like I don't get the intention behind it because I remember like when Goose Game came out, because we both just it's entitled Goose Game. It's a new game. It's right up both our alleys.
Exactly.
Of course, we're all gonna fucking play it. But like, I remember like because I released one then, and there was quite a few people. It's like Kevin made a video on this. It's like it's a new fucking game. Like
yeah, and that one's really odd because not only was it new and really popular, it was suited perfectly to both of our channels. So
it's like
I don't get that one.
Up a town,
like it is perfect for both of us. So it's a strange one. But I'm kind of glad that mentality of X played the same game as Y isn't just straight up copying anymore. I think people have realized that that's not the way it works. There's going to be overlap when there's just
like
there's only so many games.
That's the thing. Yeah, like we're just doing our own things, really. It's like I do find it funny that sometimes there's like someone was mentioning this in my Discord to me, I think the other day. Sometimes there's like an eerily similar video that comes out. There's like we've played the same game or something, and it's like even if we haven't like seen each other's content, it's like our approach is just very, very closely aligned. Like there was a game called, I think it was Good Job. That people were mentioning.
That was good.
People were mentioning that one, and it's like how we went about like some of the same even jokes about the office destruction in an almost identical manner. And it's like, I like for the record, I never saw your video of that, and I'm pretty sure like you didn't see mine as well, because I know we've talked about some stuff like that where it's like a new release, we kind of just go off and do our own thing.
Yeah.
Just without seeing each other, so there's no influence. But it's like sometimes it like eerily aligns with some of the similarities, and I find that quite funny when there's like people like note things like that. It's like we've just had the same idea, but like in isolation.
Yeah, I guess it does happen when we've got the same kind of I don't know how to, the same thought process, the way we look at games sometimes, but it's a strange one because we do and we don't. Like we have the same kind of approach, but the execution can be totally different 99.9% of the time.
That's the thing.
I guess we're bound to overlap every now and again where we end up doing the same thing. My chat is just saying we have the same brain cells, so maybe that's just the explanation.
Possibly.
Just one brain cell between us.
It's like we rent it out like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and then we swap.
Yeah, we alternate weekends.
Jesus.
But yeah, it's just bound to happen. But I'm so glad that's not as common, because it used to be a huge thing where if you played the same game as anyone, not a mind just you and I, just anyone, it would be like, oh, you copied this person. How
dare you?
I've never even heard of this person, but yeah, sure.
I don't know who this is. Yeah,
it's a bloody strange one. I don't know. What do you think about the whole convention thing and how that whole process of being on stage and doing the meet and greets and whatnot.
Oh God, like, I mean, I know like the Insomnia Dublin one we did, I thought was the scariest because that was like an entire hall of like, there was like 600 people there or something like ludicrous like that, which is like, holy shit, you know, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like I forget a lot of the time when I do this that it's like, oh, there's actually real people that watch the content, you know? It's like, that's them. There they are. Yeah. And it's like that shock moment. It's like, holy shit, you know what I do. It's like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, it is super weird because you could be streaming to 10 times the people, but seeing them in person is just so much more overwhelming.
Yeah.
But the Irish one was such an amateur event, it didn't help. Like, I remember walking in and I think I saw you near the entrance, and I don't know, was it before or after that one of the organizers was showing me around, and we got to the middle of the floor and he just said, he got called over and he was like, oh, anyway, good to meet you, I got a dash, and he left me in the middle of the hall. And all of a sudden, there's people coming from every angle. And while everyone's nice, it is very overwhelming to be in a hall and like people are circling you and surrounding and getting closer. And you're kind of in a situation where it's like, I don't think I should have been left here. and it's very, very overwhelming. There was like other situations as well. Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's like, do you remember in like Insomnia Birmingham? Where it was like. Oh, Birmingham. Oh God, Birmingham. When it's like after like the meet and greet or something like that, like we caused like a complete blockage in the hall, and it's like we had to be escorted out by like a square formation of security guards to escape the hall floor because it was like people were dogpiling on us. And it was just like, it was like the weirdest thing where it's like I've never had like to be like escorted by security for like my safety.
Yeah.
Like,
it was really weird.
It was wild.
Yeah, like I remember in that instance, Anna was the bad guy and was just like, oh, we got to go, and pulled me off or whatever. Because obviously,
God
like,
love her. Anna was trying to get us out.
I don't want to be there like, oh, I gotta go when these people are coming up to talk to me. But it's also like a little bit scary to just have this circle close in on you. But yeah, everyone was super nice. It was just, it needed to be more organized. But like,
it's just a convention organization sometimes. Like it was nice in Dublin as well when we did the one there, because like I know we had like the meet and greet sections, but like after those, then we got to do like the unofficial, unscheduled meet and greet still. So like we actually got to see everyone there.
Yeah.
And like that was very much appreciated that they just kind of cleared a space for us. It's just like controlling the flow, because like from our point of view, just like if we're like physically surrounded by people, it's like it's an intense feeling.
Yeah. No, I was really thankful they were able to give us a line upstairs again, just an empty room to do more, because again, the Birmingham one, it was really disheartening to see people were queuing up before the meet and greet was supposed to even start and got turned away because the line was too big. Like, you don't want to see that. But again, the Irish one is just like one of the lads organizing it. Like he's clearly out of his depth. He doesn't know this world at all. He doesn't know what a YouTube is or what a Twitch is. And he's like rushing people along. He's like, come on, go up here now and we'll get you out. And I just turned and I was like, I just went to him and I was like, lad, will you relax? Because he was just rushing everyone through.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I remember him.
It was wild. And the stage show of the stacking cups, the idea they had where we just didn't do it. They tried to get the crowd to sing happy birthday to me but kept interrupting. It was a very Irish event.
Very Irish, yeah. Jesus.
It was funny. I even have a few people in my chat just I was there and I remember it and stuff like that.
Oh God.
It's funny. Again, that stage show was none of our idea. We just kind of hop on and we're just like, all right, we're stacking cups.
We're just given the plan then. Yeah.
It was a very, very strange one. But I'm very much looking forward to doing more conventions, because it was a super rewarding experience.
It's gonna be fun to like actually. Well, it's gonna be weird to just see like a hall of people again, you know, because like we've been like isolated so long. And
I wonder,
it'll be nice to actually kind of go to an event and just be able to say, hey, we can actually all meet up again. It's like you can say, hey, you know, like.
And just like the meet and greet will be bizarre. Like when is that going to be able to be a thing again?
I don't know. Like presumably when we all have our vaccines and that, but like, like when? And it's like is anyone even going to try and organize something like that? Because like most of the conventions now are going online. I think E3 was announced for this year, and it's like a strictly digital thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know when we'll be able to go back, and as you say, someone will have the bravery to actually try and schedule an event.
Yeah, it's like, will we get a TwitchCon next year? It's like, we don't know.
Yeah,
we just gotta wait and see.
TwitchCon, Insomnia, anything, because they're super fun experiences and super rewarding.
They're great.
But, yeah, right now that seems like a different universe. Being able to meet loads of random people in person and actually like shake hands or a hug or whatever. It sounds.
It's like there's a crowd of people, and I'm not trying to like escape. Like,
yeah, I mean, except for the one in Dublin, where
except for that in Dublin. Jesus.
But yeah,
do you remember when we got to like TwitchCon Berlin, and it's like we stopped like Sean, Mr. Jacksepticeye, right at the hall entrance.
Yeah.
Just to like kind of say hey to him, and as in the process of talking to him, a crowd kind of started to gather because they were like, "Holy shit, that's Jacksepticeye!" And then we fecked off. And we like started wandering the convention for like the next hour and a half. We came back to the entrance and he was still fucking there. Still going.
It was, I felt so bad. I think I've apologized to him about 12 times for that. Because I was like, oh man, I didn't think about it. Because I was like, at the Twitch events, I got recognized super rarely. I was walking around freely wherever Twitch people just didn't know who I was. So it was kind of... It was kind of not even in my head that if we even say hello to this man, he might get stopped and be stuck there for an hour.
God love him. He was very good though. He actually did like properly like take the time to see everyone.
Yeah, Sean is like just a genuinely super nice dude. I've had like a 50-50 experience with content creators. They're either like a totally different person, or they're just as nice as they appear, and Sean's definitely one of them.
He's a good lad.
Just super nice dude. And if I like, he's just that kind of guy that if he could stay there all day and talk to everyone, he would. He
would. Yeah,
very, very nice guy.
His heart's in it. It's good to see.
I'm glad that like the top Irish dude is just such a nice person as well. Like even when he went on the Late Late Show and stuff, and he's just such a good example.
Jesus.
Like we don't have someone else that might be a bit more toxic or a bit more controversial. Like he's just a nice guy.
Could you imagine if he was just like really full of himself? Like
just a totally different dude. Like he actually is septic. He's just fucking awful.
It's like top of the morning to you, top of the morning to me.
Yeah, it's about me, guys. So, he's been nothing but nice, nothing but helpful in any time I've talked to him.
He's a good lad.
Always nice.
I hear he's like lost in a pile of boxes these days from fucking his move.
He's doing the move, yeah.
God love him.
Oh, that sounds so intimidating and so much effort doing a move.
Jesus.
It's like I moved like 2.5 years ago, but I didn't have that much stuff. I think now it would be a bit tougher because I'd have a lot more equipment than I had back then.
I can imagine.
You had the right approach with your like portable PC. You could go anywhere you want with that thing.
It's honestly such a lifesaver. It's like even when I go back, because I'm probably gonna go back to Japan at some point, and might even try living there again a while, just to see some more Tokyo. But like when I go back, I'm just like pop it in a bag, take it with me, set up camp. It's fine.
That is pretty awesome. And what brought you to Japan? Like, I know you went for a teacher, but was it Japan itself interested you, or did you go there because you could get a teaching job? Like, which was the motivation?
Yeah, so it was a few things, because like I knew that like I always wanted to travel the world, and I knew that very much from like finishing secondary school, and throughout all of uni, I didn't really travel much at all. Yeah. So I had an itch to go traveling. And I had the opportunity for Japan specifically because a good friend of mine had just moved there and had started teaching himself. And he actually had an apartment and he straight up just said, it's like, if you actually want to live here, we could realistically do it. And you could move in with me. And I remember, like, when he offered that, I didn't have a good reason to say no. And so I was just like, it's the fucking deep end of travel, because I'm gonna be like on the other side of the planet, and also moving out for the first time from home, and it's fucking Japan. It's like, it's a bit far away from the old parents. I'm gonna have a lot to work out.
That's big.
But I was just like, you don't get an opportunity like that every day. And so it's like, if I can do Japan, then I'll be able to do anywhere. And that was the logic. And so I was just like, yeah, sure, fuck it. So I spent like most of that year just kind of preparing for that. Because it was over the course of that year that it's like, like I built my PC. Like I finished up my uni work. It's like I worked in UPS for a while just to kind of make some extra money to put away, specifically for Japan. But yeah, it's just how it worked out, and it was Japan in particular because, again, my friend was there, and it was also just a country that very culturally rich.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot to see. Like, I wasn't really too familiar with it at the time, but I was like, sure, fuck it, let's go.
If you get a place in Japan again, please invite me. I want to see it so bad. But
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I love that attitude of just, I have no reason not to, because so many people make up reasons not to, or make excuses, and I've done it myself. Like, it's super easy to go, I could do that, but I'll do it later once I get this sorted, or I get this out of the way, or when I get to this point in my life. But I like the attitude of, I've no reason not to, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, well, because it's just what it boiled down to. And so I knew that, like, if I didn't go, I would regret that for the rest of my life. Yeah, and I knew that. I felt that very strongly. I think my parents were like fucking terrified of the prospect, because I basically just came to them. It's like, not only am I moving out, I'm moving to Japan.
Yeah, that is a pretty big move. Like, I also moved out to a different country, but I just went to Scotland as opposed to Ireland, so it wasn't a big of a shock to my parents. They must have been happy to see you back when you came back after the year.
They were. It was weird coming back too, because it was like, while I was living there that YouTube and all that kicked off. And so it's like they really didn't understand like the degree that everything had kind of like escalated while I was away. Yeah. Because I kind of just like, I disappeared for basically a year, and then I just came back. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, here's my full-time career. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And it's like, and I was also like, at the time, it's like, oh yeah, I'm off to Bristol for like a 3-week Christmas event soon too. But it was the Yogscast Jingle Jam. And it happened very quickly, and they were just like they were just like taken aback by it all.
Yeah, it must be surreal, because like, especially for parents, they don't understand anything of this world. Like, were they just excited and accepting of it? Were they doubtful that it might be a scam? Because I know my parents were worried it was kind of a scam at the start.
Oh yeah, no, like they were still worried it was a scam. Like even then. It's like they were always anxious, like I love my parents there, but like they were always anxious about me with doing YouTube and that. And even after I finished uni, summer of 2017, because I just sunk more time into YouTube and Twitch, because it's just where my passion was. And they were very wary about that, because like, he's just finished uni. What's the career plan now? It's like your parents just want to see you set for life. Really, they want to make sure that you're comfortable, and you don't squander anything. Yeah. And it's like that was their concern. But it's like when I came back, they were still a bit wary. But I think like come Christmas and that, and the fact that then like I was hopping away, and then I showed them, was like, this is the charity event, here's where you can watch it. Then it really started to sink in for them.
Right.
And like we came back from the charity events, like, yeah, we raised like £2.5 million. And it was like, holy shit. It dawned on them then. It's like, this is something quite serious. And like from that point, like they've been nothing but on board. Which is to really appreciate.
Yeah, like obviously you can't blame parents for not understanding it. Like I remember my dad only said to me a few months ago, he was like, oh, I always feel bad like about those days like when you were young, where we used to, well, mainly my dad used to like take the Xbox away, or like turn the internet off all night, that kind of thing. But I was like, Dad, realistically, how the hell were you supposed to know I was doing anything productive? Like, in anyone's eyes, I was sitting in my room just playing games all day.
That's the thing. Yeah. It is hard to kind of see like the work aspect of it. And it's like, particularly when like, you know, you're not quite at that point yet where it's like almost sustainable, and like it's very much just a passion project.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, I got a whole thing against my parents for like, you know, being worried about my future then, because like, yeah, like I'd be fucking worried too.
Yeah,
I never told them that like I skipped the job interview like initially when that happened as well. Because I was just like, no, they don't need to know. Like, as far as they're concerned, if they ask in 2 weeks, I am teaching English in Japan. But thankfully, it then got to the point where it's like, oh no, it's actually doing well now, so I could actually report that back to them.
Yeah, you can tell them all the dodgy shit you avoided. I just want to give a quick shout out to Red Panda there. Thank you so much for all the subs. I'll get to everyone's alerts afterwards, but thank you so much.
Yeah, there's been a few folks in my chat too. Thanks, lads.
Kind. I appreciate it. But I that just reminds me, I don't know if I ever told you about what it was like doing content on the old channel, like when I first started, because I wasn't making any money. Like I didn't get partnership till I had 66,000 subscribers. So before that, I was earning nothing. I was spending all of my allowance on equipment or whatever. And my parents obviously wanted me to do something more productive, something more, I guess, viable as a job.
Yeah.
But obviously I had it set that I was like, this is what I want to do, job or not. I didn't even think a job was possible. I was like, this is just what I want to do. So like we had all these back and forths of like these little scams I'd be running. Like I had rang our broadband provider, pretended to be my dad, told him the router was broken. So I put the router that was actually, you know, functioning and working with the internet and plugged into the phone line inside of our like computer case, like our home computer, and I ran the cable in behind it. So my dad was turning off the old router every night, but it wasn't plugged into anything. It was plugged into the power. There was some Ethernets in it doing fuck all.
God.
He kept turning it off every night. And then like about, I'd say 3 weeks after initially doing it, my dad like turned off the lights in the office and went to go and realized there was a light flicking from the rear of the computer, like flashing up on the thing. If I was smart, I would have taped over it. But he was like, Kevin, explain to me what is going on. I came in and I was like, oh, that's the thing for the Xbox. I was trying to mod my Xbox, so I got an attachment for the computer. And I went to turn and just walk away as like, I'm so casual about it, he'll never suspect. And he was like, no. Open it. It's just like, open it.
He knows.
He knows. And I was still like so casual. I was like, if you want me to open it, I'll open it. But like, I was going to go to bed. But like, whatever. If you want me to stay open, I'll open it. I was going over. I was just praying, like, please just tell me, no, it's grand. Go to bed. And I was just like, I'm opening it. Just like looking at him in the eyes, and I open it. And the modem was just sitting in there, and at that point, he had gotten so angry at me some nights, like shouting at me, and rightfully so, because I was being a fucking brat. But that time, he just looked at me and he was like, I am angry at you, don't get me wrong, but I'm also a little impressed, but I'm still angry. It's like, go to your room. It was pretty funny. But
it's like, wow, it's like you actually like seriously thought about this. That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
it's just like, why can't you put this effort into like your schoolwork or something? Why are you so annoying? You're driven mad.
It's fucking great.
We did have a lot of back and forths, because the problem was that the broadband upload speed was 0.2 upload speed, so it took like 16 hours to upload a video. So and back then YouTube couldn't resume from where you left off if you stopped an upload. So it was like, if someone disconnected the internet 10 hours in, that's my upload gone. I gotta start again.
Yeah. I remember those days. Yeah, it was like horrible. It was like the phone would ring while you were trying to upload or something like that. It's like, well, disconnect it now.
Oh, those days of the phone.
Gotta start again.
Oh, there was nothing like playing a game of Call of Duty and one of your parents picks up the phone and the internet drops. I forgot that was a thing.
It's like the amount of World of Warcraft raids where it's like I wouldn't get loot at the end because someone would call halfway through. It's like, well, I did my best. I was there for most of the fight, but it won't register.
Were you big into World of Warcraft? It's something I never really tried. I tried like once.
I was big into World of Warcraft, yeah. And it's like it's one of my favorite games to this day. But I was also very addicted to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And it's a game where I straight up recognized that I was addicted, because there was like a few years of my life where even when I was in school, I would plan my hours based on the amount of Warcraft time and that I could get in. It's like I would like write up there was like a motorbike that they released, like the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. I remember wanting to get it, so I made like a detailed list of like a grinding route I could do in like a 40-minute period every day after school. So I can get that done, then do my homework, and then do more grinding afterwards. It kind of like dominated a few years of my life because of that. It's like I've always been tempted to go back and play it, and I did it once for like a special stream, like even last year. But like I haven't properly sunk as much time into it, like as I did then. And I think that's for the best. I play a lot of Hearthstone now, so I kind of get some of my fix there because Hearthstone's like card game based on the characters.
I was actually going to ask you about Hearthstone. I was interested how much you play it personally, because I know that's a game you're passionate about, like outside outside of videos. So I was curious, like how often you get to just sit down and play some Hearthstone and just enjoy yourself with that.
It's like one of my go-to games because it's like even if I just have a little bit of time, I can just pick it up and play a few games. So it's like I'll play it like about twice a week, but it's like for about like an hour or two each time. I'll just kind of do my quests, have some fun, try out some stupid decks, and then like I'll just like I'm happy with that.
I'm kind of the same with Binding of Isaac at the moment, because it's like I can go in, play for half an hour and stop. Have you played that game at all?
I have played. I've played a bit of Isaac. Like I'm not that good at it, but like I've watched other people play a lot of Isaac. And I know that it's just had its DLC come out too, so there's a lot of new stuff going on there.
And it has co-op. I was actually going to ask you someday, did you want to play some?
It does have co-op, yes. I would be interested in that. That sounds like it could be fun.
It is very, very fun, and it's just a wacky game. And I feel like it's fun to watch as well, even if you don't fully understand it, because the randomness of it.
It's just babies fighting mutant babies.
Exactly.
That's all you need to know.
What about League of Legends? Were you the same kind of situation with that? Like, was it addictive at all? Because I did find at one point I was just like addicted to League of Legends in like 2013, 14 maybe.
Ah, God.
Played it way too much.
I was never the same way with League, because like I played League back when it was still in beta for the most part. So it was it was like the days before like it just fucking exploded on Twitch and that. And it's like me and my brother would just kind of play it, and it was like this game that he just found online that was free. It's but like that we'd only really play that like together, but it's like it would only be like 3 hours tops each time we play, so it wasn't nearly as bad.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if I was addicted to the game itself, or was it I was just kind of addicted to playing with friends and whatnot online, because at the time I was living alone in a weird city. I found it hard to make friends, so it was just like it's super hard to make friends when you don't have like a physical workplace. You've no way of making friends, so it was just a case of like that was where I could hang out with people even if it was online. So I don't know what part of it drew me in so much. But it's a hell of a game. It does kind of suck you in a bit, and it can bring out the worst in people sometimes. I'm gonna stop playing it now again. Can.
The amount of games like we would just complete it, and there would be someone in the other team was like, "This, don't say GG. This was a BG. This was a bad game."
Yeah, I don't know. Some people get intense about these games. Like, what do you think it is about a game like League of Legends that just brings out the passion in people to the point that they just get beyond toxic?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, because I understand being invested, but it's like you're invested to the point that like, you're actually harassing people now. It's like you gotta calm down there, buddy. Like.
Yeah, and it happens with some games, but it's just some games are more prone to it, and I've thought about it before, like why is it games like League of Legends or just any competitive game, I suppose, but just there's a few outliers that it seems to be a lot more in your face.
I think because I think it's because like a game like that requires a certain degree of strategy, and when that strategy pays off, you kind of have like the dopamine release that's like, yes, I am strategic, I am smart, I did this. When it doesn't pay off, you have to accept that you weren't as right as you thought, which is a harder thing to handle in a game like League. It's like, well, your 50-minute strategy was just kind of shit. It's like people don't want to admit that as easily. that it's like they themselves have failed here.
Yeah.
So they get really toxic. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit to that. And I think it does make sense, the fact that League games are so long. You just invested like 40 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it might be, and you lost. And it's such a prolonged experience. Like, if I die in Isaac, it's over. But if I die in League, I'm like, great, I got 30 more minutes of this of just dying over and over and over again.
So painful.
It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Oh, it is just, it's a strange one. I don't know.
It's like the game I probably get worked up over the most actually is Pokemon. Because I actually play a fair bit of like competitive Pokemon.
How does that work?
So there's basically a battle client. It's like a web browser site called Pokemon Showdown, and you basically create a Pokemon team on it, and it instantly throws you into a battle against a bunch of other people. And so but you get to strategize like your team. You get to you have all the tools that you would normally have in game, but you can just do it faster because it's sliders and it's all set so it's legitimate stats and stuff like that. And I get very heated and worked up about that because I'm always trying to devise like a winning strategy or game plan. And it's like when my team repeatedly loses, it's like, I gotta change the fucking team. And then that becomes a very stressful process for me. It's like, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
So that's the one I get very worked up about.
Yeah, like, to be fair, there's nothing wrong with getting worked up or, competitive with things. It's once you start taking it out on others or just having a negative impact on yourself, that's not good. Like, a certain competitiveness is good, for sure.
So it's like, just don't take it out on the person.
Exactly.
Like I've had games where like I would just be like, I would be playing, and it's like basically the equivalent. It's like that fucking like Raichu on that other guy's team. I hate you. Rot in hell. But like at the end, still GG. Yeah. It's like I'm dying internally, and I hate this human being. But I'm not gonna take it out on them.
Yeah, I have similar experiences. I think I've gotten better at it for sure with not engaging with these people, but sometimes I can't resist. Like, I was even playing Valorant the other day, and one of my friends was like just waiting at this spot, and he killed the guy, and the guy's immediately like, who even does that in unranked? And I'm just like, well, I can't remember what I said. I was just like, who even gets pissed off in unranked or something? And he was like, it's just a question. And then I said, oh, if it was a question, in that case, it was this guy. And I named the guy who had killed him from that spot. And he was just like, you're so fucking pathetic. Or something like that. And he's like, you're muted. I was like, who even mutes in unranked? I'm just like,
who cares?
Just having my fun. But
there's literally no stakes. Like, that's the game mode.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I shouldn't even be engaging with this person because I'm just feeding into them, but I'm pissing them off more. But it's just sometimes you can't resist with some people because they're being so ridiculous. And I feel like I usually, when I have a bit of banter, I'm just like, it's just a bit of playful prodding like that, whereas other people get proper, like the amount of people who've told me to actually just go uninstall the game or even worse, do things to myself. It's like, oh no, it's pretty fucking awful when it comes to gaming.
Oh god.
It's a strange one how passionate people can get. But again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about Twitch. Like, it could be anyone. You don't know what they're going through in life or what they're doing.
This is like how they're venting about life sometimes.
Yeah,
and it's like you shouldn't be taking it out on other people, but they're making a mistake.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to be like, people can be fucking awful online, but unless it's a very extreme, I don't think there's any point in making that person's life even worse, because they could very well be going through some shit.
They could, yeah.
It doesn't excuse them, but I don't want to double down on them either,
Yeah. I just try to be understanding. It's like, they're just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Like, I had one, it's like, sometimes in Hearthstone, when you finish a game, you get a person who adds you after the game. And normally, like, it's just the kind of talk or getting a few words about the game. And it's like, we had a fucking like crazy match. I was laughing my head off the entire time because it was just so much fun. I add them afterwards, and it was just like, dude, that game was insane. And they were just like, no, it wasn't. It's like,
you ruined my fucking day.
Yeah. It's like, so like I just said, it's like, like liven up a little. And like, I just like unadded them immediately. Like, it's like, I don't want to take time out of my day to hear you vent about me. It's just have some fun.
Yeah. That is pretty hilarious, though, how it could be perceived so differently by them. I take it you won anyway.
I won the game,
won,
yeah.
so
But it's like by complete like bullshit. I did not deserve to win means, which just made it funnier for me. But it's like, but I still won, and it was just like that was insane. Like,
yeah. I've been trying to just refocus that way because, like, again, I'm just using Valorant because it's an easy example. I'm not super into it yet, but like if I win by a round, I'm like that was a fucking good game, but. Now also if I lose by a round, I'm like that was a really good game. Like it doesn't realistically matter if I won or lost. It was just nice to have a really close game.
It's just points and rankings and that at the end of the day. Like it doesn't. Yeah. What does that all mean? You know, it's like the number is higher. Like
yeah, exactly. Like it's totally fine to get frustrated and stressed out by things, but you don't want it taking an impact on you. Because if you really sit back and like if you're going wild, flaming everyone, and you sit back and go, "What? I'm acting like an ass right now." Like if anyone else was doing this, I'd be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" So,
oh god,
just a bit of reflection, I suppose. Because I again, like most people, when you grow up on Call of Duty on the Xbox, you hear some awful stuff. You might think it's normal.
How to annoy days. Yeah, you just rile them up.
Did you play any Call of Duty back in the good old days on Xbox or PlayStation or anything like that?
Not on Xbox, but I played it on PC. And surprisingly, I don't have really any Call of Duty horror stories.
I think, especially back then, it would have been a maturer player base playing on PC, and I think the rarity of voice chat back then as well on PC would have helped. It was mainly text, wasn't it?
Yeah, like mainly text. Is you wouldn't really have many people using their mic, or just be like one guy on the server with a mic giving orders to like the rest of the team. But it's like always very awkward because they'd be the only one talking. So they just over time they just mute themselves. And it's like you don't have to deal with much.
That is funny. Yeah, the Xbox days were pretty toxic. You get some pretty awful stuff said to you. But it's just the way the game was, I suppose. MW2 chat, Jesus Christ, it was it was a wild experience. Builds characters. Oh god.
Oh god.
How would you feel about playing a game, Dan, or are you busy?
I'm a bit conscious of the time, just because I promised some friends I would see them at about 7:30.
Oh, that's grand. We're already at 7, so
yeah. I mean, this has been good crack. It's just been nice, kind of hanging out and chilling.
Yeah, it's been nice to actually just hop on a call because it's weird how when I sat back and thought about the stuff that I was like, I actually want to get an answer for this. I just started thinking about, I guess when you only game with people most of the time, it's hard to fully be present in a conversation and ask things that you didn't really think about before.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know with us, like a lot of the times, like we're actually like on call. It's like because we'll be streaming together or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
it's been really chill. It's been lovely talking to you. Yeah, I hope that's all right if I'm not sticking around too.
Oh yeah,
is that
of
okay?
course. Jesus,
thanks.
You're grand. It would be a bit hypocritical of me to get toxic after that big long talk. Fuck you, Dan.
Yeah, we'll get some Isaac in before long. That could be good.
That would be very, very good. I'd enjoy that a lot.
I'm not very good, but I'll do my best.
Oh, it's grand. I've been playing with everyone. Anyone who play with me, I'm like, yeah, jump in. I'll carry you through the first few levels, and we'll get the hang of it.
Oh god,
it's very good, and you can kind of focus the items. Like I try and give the other person who doesn't know much about the game just health items and stuff, so they're kind of tanky.
Keep them alive longer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
Oh god, no, that'd be good crack. I'm down for that.
That would be a lot of fun. All right, will I let you get back to it? So if you need to head off or.
If that's okay.
That is totally fine. Right. That is totally fine. But
it's been lovely talking to you though, man, and I hope you have a good stream yourself.
Thank you very much. And thank you for joining me. I know it's a big ask to ask a content creator person or anyone of that matter.
My time is valuable.
Exactly. An hour and a half. It's just with scheduling, I know it's just all over the place just to like cement down a time and actually like
you're grand. You're grand. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. But yeah, thanks for joining, Dan, and I suppose I'll talk to you soon, I suppose.
Talk to you, man. All the best.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too, man. Enjoy.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.